Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining in. I know it's been about 10 minutes delay, but thank you for being patient and helping your friends joining in as well and checking the audio, etc. For those joined in late and trying to figure out how to use the audio, there are 5 icons on the left on the top. I don't know if your screen is showing the center, but one of the first icons will have a speaker symbol, like an audio mode. So you could click on it and say you want to use computer or a microphone, use a microphone, or you can also phone in through coordinates available there. It's a local Canada number, so you can use one of them. And let us know if you're having any trouble. Your friends are here to help you. You can put it out on the chat window. You can reach out to Catherine. I'm just hoping everyone can hear me well in this last 2 minutes that I started speaking. For the ones who are having trouble, just reach out to Catherine, please. Thank you. All right. So the topic for today's session is everything practice management. Now, you've all been given a uLaw account. Most of you have been registered, I think. The ones who have not registered, please try to register as soon as possible. Your account will be given to you in a few hours. But if you're not registered, you technically not be able to follow what we are talking today. So at least for the sake of you being able to go back and work on the platform, you will need to register as soon as possible. That being said, everything practice management is something that it's actually a CPE topic accredited by Law Society across Canada, across 3 provinces like Ontario, New Brunswick, Alberta, and British Columbia. But this is a topic also that we try and bring to many students like you all, because this is a basic version of you having to be ready as a professional, and this is definitely going to take you a long way. So this is a good or solid 1 hour session. It's actually a 90-minute session, but I'm going to kind of shrink it to 1 hour. That by itself is going to go by 9:15, and we might have a few questions. So this session is going to be definitely open till 9:30 and available for all of you. The ones who are going to be, having any questions can save it. You can put it on the chat window, but I will definitely address it towards the end. Awesome. Just give me 1 second. There's some sort of problem with my screen. Bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, I've got it. Okay, this should be fine now. Let me pull up the screen once again. Okay, great. All right, so the agenda for today's topic is going to be a few sessions that we're going to discuss about, or a few sections that we're going to discuss about. Starting off with as simple and primary as a client intake to time management and personal management. And I would say the first 3 are very intensive topics, like, that would include your professional obligations as, in order to fulfill a client intake or a client management, to file management or a matter management, and accounting or financial management. And of course, the rest of it talks about your general business management, professional management, and time management and personal management. So the last 4 topics are in general and common, but the first 3 are very intense. And this is what you would probably use to apply into your uLaw account as well. Whatever we're going to learn in the first three sections as to how you're going to intake a client, how you're going to communicate, what are the best channels to communicate with them, how do you, what are the things or what are the, obligations you have to fulfill in order to open a file or a matter. And what are the compliances that you need to follow for a matter management, financial management, client management, all of these. This is what we're going to see in the first three sections. And then the last four are going to be, like I already mentioned, a little generic. So we will stress upon it as simple and keep it simple, and we'll not stress upon it too much. But the first three are very important. So straight away jumping into client intake. The idea is maybe around 20 to 30 minutes. It would showcase, maybe 30 minutes, say I would showcase the presentation. We discuss about points so you all can make a note of it. And the last 30 minutes or the last 20 minutes, I would do the uLaw count, and we'll keep about 10 minutes for questions. Okay, I'll try to make it as simple and as useful as possible. So straight away jumping into client intake. Now, I'm sure all of you have somewhere witnessed client intake process. Either you've been on this side as a client, on the client side, having to fill in some forms, details, where you are taking someone else's services, or you've seen others doing it somewhere, you've come across it. But what are some obligations? What are some methodologies that you need to follow? What are some pointers that you need to keep in mind while you on this side as a professional is servicing a client, and especially as a legal professional? Now, let's say you have a initial conversation with a client. It could be a prospective client. It could be someone who's already interested and about to pay you a deposit. How do you converse with them? What are certain things that you keep in mind? First of all, when you start conversing with them, you're going to be starting to record every minutest of the details possible. Now, these can be in the form of dockets. These can be in the form of consultations, records. You can have them as a notes. You can have them on your software. uLaw has a section under contacts called notes. You can all use that to record every single detail before you open a file or a matter. Once you're done with your initial consultation, you're understanding the client's basic information profiles, then you move on with opening a client's file. You start doing a conflict check. You are able to provide the details into the software. So if you're not using uLaw, then it's a different thing. But in uLaw, straight away when you add a client, if you click on action, there's an option where you can do a conflict check. I'm definitely going to be running through all this, and you'll be able to see them. So conflict check is something that you will be able to, you should do it as soon as you have a client intake completed in your account. And when you do a conflict check, you will know whether this client has a conflict or not. And if the client doesn't have a conflict, you can then proceed with opening a file or a matter for this client. Only when you open a file or matter, you can generate documents like retainer letter or, let's say client ID verification form. And there's so many other compliance documents that's available under a matters tab. You can explore it, and I will also walk you through the compliance tabs in each of these sections. And besides that, let's say your client you've met your client, you've completed the client intake, the conflict check has been completed, you guys have decided to go with a small retainer. So you want to decide whether you want to go on a retainer, or you want to decide whether you want to bill them for the work completed and then get the money into general. So now when retainer comes into picture, there are certain things that you have to keep in mind. You have to draw a retainer agreement. You have to make sure everything is completely addressed in the retainer agreement. In the next slide, we will talk about what are the things that needs to be included in a retainer agreement. But precisely once you decided rather you're going to get into a retainer business, you have to make sure that everything in terms of your professional obligations are being fulfilled in the time, in the sense you're going to draw a retainer agreement and the retainer agreement fulfills all the criteria. Then you get the money into trust. And how do you get the money into trust? You need to determine the method of payment. You need to determine the let's say whether you're getting it in the cash or check or email transfer. If you're getting it in the cash, are you depositing it into your trust account in the bank in the next 24 hours? Because that is one of the most important criteria if you're getting money in cash. Now, besides that, we are also telling you that to provide with a receipt upon getting or depositing a retainer into trust account. Now, this is very important. Sometimes many of us rush into our work and we tend to forget to provide receipts. But when you are being audited or when you're going to even need a track record of what the client paid you to show some kind of audit trail, these receipts that you're providing to your client forms part of a very, it's a very integral part of this process. So make sure you are in the flow to get the retainer letter drafted, signed by your client, collect the fees, deposit into your trust, or it's directly getting deposited into trust, and provide with a receipt. Now, what happens if there's a conflict check happening and there is a conflict? What happens then? You would then probably refer them to another lawyer or a paralegal, or you just say politely that for various reasons you're not able to onboard or engage with this client. So you're providing them with a non-engagement letter. That's the last one that you see here. Now, there are other ways or other times also that you would be providing a non-engagement letter. Let's say that there's a prospective client reaching you out through phone or through a website chat or some communication channel, because with COVID, I think everyone is moving virtual right now and things are all like, I don't think we're yet back to offices. We're still trying to do hybrid model, or sometimes people are still liking to stay at home and work home office. There's so many things that's come up now, options that's come up now. So people are all going virtual. Now, uLaw is a cloud-based program, so you wouldn't have a problem. You can work from anywhere. But let's say all these days you had people coming into your office or people emailing you, inquiring, and then you give them an appointment and they come into your office to do all of this. Right now, they're not doing all of this. You just have something up on your website, like a sign-in form or a inquiry form or something like that, or they just come in through your let's say through your email, and everything is just happening virtually. So at that point in time, someone who gives you a call randomly and you still, intake them, you have all their information, you've gone up to a point of conflict check, and when you start determining the fee, this person's not getting back to you for some reason. So immediately then you move them as a ghost client. So in uLaw, if you've already logged in, the ones who at least have the program, you would see under contacts, there's a tab called ghost clients. Now you might be wondering, what are these ghost clients? These ghost clients are nothing but any prospective client who tries reaching out to you and who has not gotten back to you are basically ghost clients. So you just quickly move them under ghost clients instead of contacts or clients, and you're going to send them a non-engagement letter. So there are kind of two different times when you send non-engagement letter. Either you have found a conflict and you're not proceeding, or you have or the client hasn't gotten back to you and you move them into ghost client, and you still want to make sure that they're not claiming, they're not holding you responsible for anything, so you send them a non-engagement letter. Now, with regards to retainer agreement, once you've proceeded in with your client intake and we were talking about determining the fee and the method of payment and the bank that they're going to pay into or the account that they can pay into, retainer agreement plays a very vital role, or it's definitely super important in deciding how are you going to get paid and what are the kind of responsibilities that client has or you as a legal professional need to complete. So these are certain things that are going to be going under the retainer agreement. And these are the points that you need to keep in mind. Yes, of course, they would be tailor-made according to your practice and according to the kind of clients you deal with. But by default, these are some points that has to be in your retainer agreement. Nature and scope of matter, client responsibilities. Nature and scope of matter will include what is the title, what is the file number, what if there's a court file number, what is the scope of the matter, and also discuss about client's responsibilities. How often do they need to communicate with you, and all the representation that you're going to be doing on behalf of them, the method of communication, how frequently you want them to communicate. So you can see pretty much all these retainer arrangements are discussed at the beginning, which is the very first day when this is probably one of the most primary client-facing document that is being exchanged between you and your client and getting signed and agreed upon. So because until then there was only a client intake form that would have been done online or that could have been done through email. So this is something that would be definitely helpful for you all to keep in mind, that this is your very first client facing document that needs to be agreed upon in order to move forward. And this should have everything from the basic nature and scope of matter to any retainer termination details that is, to be addressed. Now, as we discussed, as we proceed further, there are some other professional obligations that you need to fulfill, and one of them is file management. Now, once you have intaken the client, or once you have completed the client intake, once you have completed the retainer agreement and everything else, you're going to be going ahead and starting a file. So a file in uLaw is the matter management. That's where we talk about matter management, matter file. These are just synonyms, but make sure that what are the things that you need to enter here or include here in order to fulfill the professional obligations for a proper file management system. Now, let's assume you have onboarded a client, you have signed up your client, and you have signed a retainer agreement, and you've collected the retainer into the trust account, because retainers come into trust. Now, many of them say that at the beginning of their practice, they could get a retainer into general because they don't have email transfer option to their trust account, and then they would transfer money to trust later on from their general account. I find this so clumsy because your auditor will also find it very clumsy, because the first 18 months you're prone to be audited very easily. So these are some tips that I could tell you right away. Make sure that when you are going to get into your banking part, you're going to decide a bank and you're going to decide all of these. Find out a bank that would support you as a legal professional, that would understand what are the importance of a trust account, a legal trust account, how do they maintain them. They don't put charges into it. They only take it out of general account. They don't, they allow email transfers into trust account. You can set it up in such a way that email transfers can respectively go into trust or general when you accept them. Like you would have received an email transfer, but you have to accept it. And when you accept it, there will be an option for you to select whether you want that to go into your trust or general. So that level of support needs to come in from the bank that you're banking with. So coming back to it, let's say you collected the retainer into your trust account, and now you've started to work on the file. Now, what are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're doing the file management? First of all, I would say on top of my mind, keep a file open, like, file checklist open, and follow the file checklist in order to complete every single thing that you have in there. And this will be, let's say you have a, like a driver's license to be collected, you have a docket to be completed, you have a document to be uploaded into the drive. There's so many things that comes into your picture, into this picture, into a file management picture when it comes to, fulfilling the professional obligation. So right away, start off with a checklist, and in uLaw again, you have a file opening checklist in the matter. So you don't have to panic. You don't have to worry about anything. You can just simply click on the compliance document under matter management or file management, and you will find the file opening checklist over there, and you can make sure that everything in there is ticked or completed. And making sure that you have everything under conflict check being completed, client ID verification being done, and you also open separate matter for each file. So maybe separate file for each matter. So maybe a same client has two different files or matters, because one could have, same client could have a speeding ticket, a same client could have a landlord tenant board issue too. So what are the, you're not going to club both under the same file. You're definitely going to open two different matters for the same client, because in uLaw, you can add the client only once, and you can create new matter under the existing matter by simply clicking on action. So that is very simple, and that's how you always maintain separate ledgers for, separate matters, and you don't confuse the billing, you don't confuse the money that's come and gone out, etc. And making sure, of course, all of these files are chronologically organized, whether, in physical form or electronic form. I don't think anyone these days are doing physical form of filing, especially going green and all of those. Mostly people only print if they need to, or they're all saved in the drive or somewhere in your electronic device, etc. So make sure that all of these files that you're downloading, or all of these reports or letters or documents that you're downloading from the program, they all go into your downloads, and you're then organizing them properly into the respective folder, either in your computer itself, or you're having them stored in a cloud-based software like Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, whatever that you're using. If you're using Google Drive, OneDrive, there's another additional advantage, because uLaw synchronizes with Google Drive and OneDrive. We integrate with them. So you can pull in all the documents into the respective files. I will be showing you that when we're doing document management in the program. So all the documents that I'm going to be downloading, I will show you how I store them later, okay? Now, besides that, any interactions with the client, please record them as a docket. You don't have to bill for all of them, but recording a conversation or a correspondence with the client will help you analyze the work that you've done, and you will be able to justify to the client while you're charging them. And when there's a problem that arises, you can show to them what exactly you've done here. Now, besides that, we already spoke about, file checklist and conflict check, etc. But there's also file numbering system that needs to be in place. So when you're starting off a file, make sure you are numbering them. If you're using uLaw, of course, there's file number that gets created automatically. They're thoroughly checked, making sure that there won't be any duplicate, there won't be any sequential order. It is just first two letters of the first name, last name, and it will have about 5 or 6 digit numeric number. So it's an alphanumeric file number that you see in uLaw every time you open a file. And this is something that would help you to be in proper organization, ensuring everything is indexed, etc. So yes, file management, top priority, file opening checklist, and making sure every file has a separate matter, and ensuring that they're organized properly and all the client interactions are recorded and saved electronically, so that you can always look up for it from anywhere in this world, wherever you are, whether you're traveling, whether you're in your office, whether you're in your home, in your meeting, anywhere, you'll be able to check all of those. Now, the next thing here is the financial management. Now, financial management is a word that brings a little, fear to all of us, including me. But yeah, how do I break it? How did I overcome it? So honestly speaking, I didn't know that, a proper track record of information would lead me to very smooth reconciliation process. So end of the day, what are we trying to do here when you're doing the financial management? You obviously, it all ends well, it all goes and sits into the respective ledgers, journals, and from the invoices at the front end, you can only see as if you're recording a docket and you're raising an invoice. But what really happens at the back end when you raise an invoice? When you raise an invoice, it goes and sits in the general as an AR, accounts receivable, from your client. So how are you going to fulfill that accounts receivable? Are you going to receive any money into your general account? Is the client going to pay into the general account, or do you have money sitting in trust that you're going to transfer into general account? Now, if I'm going to transfer money into general account from trust account, what are the things that I need to fulfill? Should I have raised a proper invoice at proper time and details? And when I transfer, what all should I do? Like, do I have to record a reference number saying that this is what the bank gave me when I transferred money? Yes, so all of these forms part of financial management. It's like, small droplets forms into the ocean. So you just have to make sure that every single thing, whether you receive a receipt or whether you receive a retainer and you issue a receipt, or whether you invoice your client and do a trust transfer and you have a reference number for it and you enter that so that you can generate a Form 9A, right from that standpoint to maintaining your bank statement, any canceled checks, and anything that was overpaid, underpaid. Mostly overpaid needs to be recorded, because underpaid can always be matched by paying additional amount. But when you're overpaying, you need to know what is the reason, and whether the money has come back into your account. So keeping a track record of every minutest of amount that is coming in and going out of your trust or general respectively is your, is more like a mantra. I think, this is going to help you go a long way, making sure that, you're able to reconcile your books very easily. So like I said, the end point is only reconciliation. You need to submit your reconciliation documents to Law Society. And otherwise, I don't think it's going to be that, super important, because we're all so caught up with the daily routine of our, management or finances that you're going to be taking care of. But end of the day, when it comes to a point where you need to reconcile everything, what are the points that you need to keep in mind? So that's what we're going to talk about in this slide here quickly, and then move on to the next one. So over here, we have, you need to make sure that you're determining what is your method of fee that you're going to be charging to the client, whether you're going to be charging them hourly rate or you're going to be charging them flat rate, whether you're going to be charging them in advance, like, you're going to be charging them before you do the work and collect the fee and then you start the work, or whether you're going to finish the work and then charge them and collect them as a payment. You're going to decide all of those proper fee scheduling and then making sure that you're delivering the invoices to the client on time, and you include all the details into the invoice, like, what time, what are the dockets. Remember I said you need to record the dockets, whether you want to bring them on the invoice or not. There's a different way to do that in uLaw. I'll show you when I'm docketing it. So you can docket everything you want, but you only want to show a few things, then you have to put them as a billable time. If you don't put them as a billable time, then it doesn't come up on the invoice. It only stays as a docket for your reference in future. And systematic, again, track of overpayments, making sure all the money that comes into general goes out of general, that is general receipts and disbursements are recorded, and maintenance of original bank statements, canceled checks, duplicate receipts, anything that you need to keep a track record of so that it will help you to reconcile your books, because when the check gets canceled, you know that you've issued another check for some reason. You can compare that with your bank statement and you'll be able to reconcile it very easily. And end of the day, all that you're trying to do here is not just for the compliance purposes, but it's also for your internal. The day you start realizing it's for your internal purposes, you will be able to do this much, in a much more religious manner, because preparation of financial statement definitely helps you go a long way in terms of gauging your firm's health, because you know where you stand, you know what is your income, what is your expense for this quarter, what is your revenue that you've generated from a specific area of practice, etc. So that is about keeping a track record of your financial obligations. And when you're setting up your trust accounts to receive money, make sure that you're able to record the transactions, as we already discussed, when you're collecting the retainer. So it comes up in the following. It's been included in the client ledgers. They're basically 2 ledgers, 4 journals, and 2 reconciliation documents. So these 8 documents on a monthly basis is required by Law Society. So the 2 client ledgers are called client trust ledger, client's general ledger, and then we have 4 journals: receipt journal, disbursement journal, and we also have 2 monthly trust comparisons, which is trust monthly comparison and general monthly comparison. So all those information you're recording definitely at the back end goes into these respective documents. If you're recording a receipt, it goes into the client's trust receipt, and if you're recording let's say a retainer, it goes into trust receipt journal. If you're recording a client payment, then it goes into general receipt journal. So same way, if you're disbursing something from trust, it goes under trust disbursement journal. And if you're disbursing something from general, like, you're doing some office expenses, like you're buying ink for your printer or you're buying paper for your printer, it goes under office expenses, which in turn comes up in your general disbursement journal. So these 8 documents are top priority. And yes, these are at back end. You're not going to be bothered doing this on your own, because if you're using uLaw, they're just one-click button from your accounts section under compliance. You will find all of these documents in there. Now, the next one is going to be your business management. Like I said, business management, professional management, time, personal management. These are all some things that are based on your lifestyle and based on your requirements for your practice level, but they are recommended by Law Society to take care when you're a new entrepreneur, when you're someone who is just setting up your business. Try to manage your business in a better way so that you're professionally obligated to do so, and you're fulfilling those obligations. You're able to efficiently use the software. You're able to maintain a backup for all your security, especially if you're using a program. Let's say you're using a cloud-based program like uLaw. Where do you keep maintain regular backups? Because uLaw has a backup by itself, but besides that, are you regularly exporting all the documents? Are you able to take care of your, the security of the devices? Are you using passwords? Are you using password protect? Because they all contain sensitive information like your client's information, and are you able to remotely access? Because today, especially post COVID, I think we all know the importance of working from anywhere in this world. So making sure that you're able to remotely access your emails, your messages. So it is very important to keep your business protected in terms of security threats, in terms of efficiently using a software that helps you be compliant, professionally obligated also, and at the same time you're able to access things from anywhere. So that's the key idea of making sure your business is well managed. And moving on to the next one, which is professional management. As you all know, once you're done with your courses, you will be needing to keep your professional management going. You need to give your CPD hours. You need to get your memberships with us, with the respective associations. You need to be on top of new legislations and case laws. Keep reviewing all the professional code of conduct. And, besides that, when I say, I just want to say that uLaw keeps giving CPD hours every, maybe twice a month. Yeah, around twice a month we give CPD hours, so we can be able to, give that. Yes, one of them have asked if we'll be using the software. I'm getting into that in another couple minutes. I'm almost on the last two slides, and we'll be jumping into that. So that is about professional management, and we have time management here already. I'm sure you all understand, but time management for a legal professional includes time docketing, and you make sure that the time docket for your clients goes under the respective matters, and if there are any non-billable time, they have to go under calendar, etc. Now, I'm not going to take too much time doing the other things, which is personal management and benefits of practice management, but you all need to keep in mind once you get into a professional life that you need to strike a work-life balance here, and you're probably getting there to understand what are the benefits of practice management while doing this. So I'm going to quickly show you how you can make the best use of uLaw and balance all of these, like whatever we spoke in the last few minutes in terms of managing, uLaw and your profession, etc. So yeah, I understand we are pressed for time. I think we started only at 8:15, so we're going to be finishing the webinar only at 9:15. Like I said, I have about 20 minutes to show you guys what we can do in uLaw. So this is going to be the landing page once you log in for the uLaw account, and dashboard is going to be seen only if you start adding information into your account. So where do you start adding information into your account? Now, you all can set up your own account by going into settings. You can change your password. You can add in details of yourself or your fake firm, maybe, other details. You can go in through the settings and put in your taxes rates and etc. And once you're done with that, you can start adding your clients' information here. Let's say you've been given exercises on adding new clients. You can simply click on add new client. How to create groups. You can click on group and add group over here. There are default groups here like friends, coworkers, vendors. These are some ghost clients. These are some default groups that you can just simply click on add new contact, and you can use them over here. Now there is client portal also. You can intake the client using client portal, but I will keep it simple today. Simply click on add new client and say client's name is and there are certain things to keep in mind, especially for the compliance part. You're going to be making sure their source of contact has been noted. How did this client reach out to you? Maybe through an existing client. What is their profession, job title? Here's the notes that I said the first time you speak to them. You can note down the initial call, date and time, and maybe their address, or address is there at the bottom. You can add in whatever details you want in here at the call that you discussed, and you can add in the details of the address and other things over here, and you can go on to do the conflict check, which is the first part of your first step towards being compliant, and you will be able to do rest of the information here. So just to quickly save time, I'm saving in the client's information. You can see all of this over here. And to do the conflict check, you're going to simply click on action and do a conflict check. Now, this is very important step when you're starting a practice, especially a few more months or years into the practice also. It's even more important as you don't know how many clients you've serviced and you don't remember the client's name. So you want to bring up the conflict check, and the potential conflicts are all shown in here, okay? Now that's about conflict check. Once you're done with conflict check, you can go ahead and open a matter. Now this is the part most of your work happens for a client's matter. You can add in, let's say this is a simple experience ticket, and you add in, or maybe a landlord tenant board, whatever is the issue that comes under the matter title. And you select the area of practice. So the area of practice can be respectively, let's say, traffic violation or POA or HTA, whatever it is. And you can enter the respective area of practice, and you will be able to add in the details, such as if they have a code file number, if there's a matter description. These are all not mandatory. Only this is mandatory. A matter title is mandatory. Without a title, you cannot proceed with opening a file. And once you're done with that, you can add in the rate per hour. If you're doing hourly billing, if you're not doing an hourly billing, just forget about this. If you're somebody who does flat rate, you can straight away go and start entering the flat rate. Now you save this, your default tax rate gets saved for your province. If you're someone in the initial stages, you're not going to charge taxes to your client, you can make this as 0%. Otherwise, it will be charged as default tax rate for your province. Now, your file is ready with the initial details. So you have client intake done, you have conflict check done. Let's say you have you've added the file information. What is the next step you're going to do? You want to send a retainer letter to the client. Let's say the client ID verification was done, everything else was here completed, and then you go into retainer letter and say you want a $500 retainer from the client, and you download the form, send it to them, and ask them to fill that in, and here it is. So it's readily available for you. It comes up with your letterhead. Here it very clearly says we need $500 retainer. The 500 amount that I filled outside is coming up on the retainer letter. So you can then go in, start adding the retainer over here because the client paid you on the same day. So on the same day, you also update uLaw, enter the $500 retainer. Okay, so there are 2-3 ways to add a retainer. One way, straight away, click on Disbursements Retainer tab, click on New Retainer, and you add a retainer in here. Method of payment, very important. Reference number, very, very important. We don't even allow to move forward. Like, you can't even go and say apply without saying what is the payment reference number. So you need to go and enter the payment reference number. If you don't have one, sometimes your bank doesn't give you a payment reference number for an email transfer. just put a question mark or NA so you don't have it, and you can at least proceed further. So you give Harry receipt. Remember the documents that we discussed. Give them a receipt and proceed further with the work. So when you proceed further with the work, you know that you have to start adding the dockets. Now, there are several ways you can add a docket. You can add a docket which is a billable time. I have mine set up default as flat rate. Now, let's say you go to settings and you say that you want yours to be done as an hourly billing, then you can actually say that the billable format that you want to keep is not flat rate, but do an hourly billing, and you can actually change it from the settings. So right now I wanted a flat rate, so I have put it in here as a flat rate. So I'll show you how you can shift from flat rate to billable time over here. So let's say you had an initial client meeting and you met with the client for about, let's say, multiples of 6 minutes, 42 minutes, and you want to charge the client for exact time. So you first change the flat rate by clicking on the small drop down here and changing it to billable time. And you can enter the same time by clicking on autofill billable. So whatever is the duration I took on the left-hand side or I've added on the left-hand side is what is going to be billed on the right-hand side and be entered as a billable time. Now, if you want to add in description, you can record, you can talk into the mic, you can type here, initial client meeting held on the date, and etc. Okay, and you can enter the details. Let's say you add more events, you call it as drafting, and maybe you know what you also wanted to do billable time. You said default time, which is 30 minutes, and you were going to use that. The next time you had a court hearing, and when you visited the court, it took you more than 2 hours, but you wanted to charge your client only about $250 or dollars as a flat rate. So you're going to add them over here, and this is a way you can basically combine billable time and flat rate together. So you have billable time as well as flat rate, both in the same billing, and it's like going to be showing up on your invoice. Now, before I go ahead and raise an invoice, I realized that there was a disbursement I made on behalf of the client. So I go into disbursement. I'm not going too much in detail to disbursement, guys, because next week we have not next week, I think the following week, we have a disbursement demystified webinar where we will be talking in detail what are all these options. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on pay disbursements from general. A common disbursement that we all come across is photocopy charges. So I'm just going to show you how we add that and charge the client. So the one that goes on the top is what you're charging the client. The one at the bottom is what you're going to report as an expense to your books of accounts. Now, I'm not reporting anything because I didn't go outside and print. I used my office printer. And I'm not charging anything for my office printer over here because I want to take that as a general disbursement, and I will be putting it under my general office expenses. So right now at the bottom, leaving it zero, but I'm still charging my client for the disbursement of $22.60. Once that is done, I'll be going ahead and clicking on invoice complete because I have added few matter events. I've added few disbursements, or at least one disbursement. I've added a retainer. Now is a time where I have to go and raise an invoice because I'm done with the work. I had a $500 receipt on the top right side. You can all see that there's a $500 receipt retainer, 22.60 as a disbursement. You have flat rate and billable time, projected balance over here. Everything is seen. Now you go into invoice, right above invoice pending, there's a drop down, always pre-bill. Don't proceed without a pre-bill. Now there are different themes, formats, eco-friendly mode. You can use whatever you want. Now this is the preview. It comes with a watermark saying preview. It has the client's information. It has the matter title, number. It doesn't have an invoice number because it's a preview. And the date and the dockets that you've entered with the time, in fact. And everything is seen here with the disbursements, retainer, keep going down, and you know what the client owes you further. other than what they paid you into the trust account. So you quickly go in back to your account, and you can just simply click on I don't think you need to be following with your uLaw account. There will be a recording provided to you, Siham, so you can definitely watch this recording and try to follow up. If I'm too fast, I can slow down, but I believe that some of them are in rush, so I'm trying to do my best in an hour. But if you need more help, you can always look at this recording and try to relearn this process. And worst case, you can also reach out to me through email, guys. Okay, I'll be giving you my email at the end. All right, so just recapping once again, so far whatever we did. So I added a client under contacts. I did the conflict check under action. I opened a matter by clicking on matter button. I entered the matter title, which is the speeding ticket. I entered other things here. I saved the client's file details. I went into matter events. I then went and added a few dockets, whatever style of dockets you're going to be billing your clients for. And I also went ahead adding a disbursement and a retainer because I sent out a retainer letter to the client from the uLaw program. When I do all this, I realize that the client owes me more money, irrespective of whether they owe you money or not. Once you're done with work, you need to complete the invoice. So since you're done with you're going to skip the preview, complete the invoice, and once you're done with the invoice, you download it. One thing you do is send it to your client because they owe you money. They owe you additional money, rather. And the second thing you do is you can move the money sitting in your trust account into your general account. So here is the trust account, and you're going to click on whatever is the money that you're going to withdraw. You're going to simply click withdraw from trust, click trust invoice payment transfer. Now, this is a way for you to transfer the money that is sitting in your trust account. The other way you can do this is simply by clicking on question mark in center of the page called Matter Analytics. When you click on question mark, after you raise an invoice, it will tell you what to do. It will tell you that, hey, you had a $500 deposit in trust. Your invoice amount was $711.90. So you can first transfer what is available in your trust for $500, and the client owes you the balance amount. So you click on transfer. You move the money from trust account to the general account by simply clicking on question mark. Of course, you're doing this in your bank first, remember, okay? You click on question mark to verify if the amount is right. Okay, I'm going to transfer 500. Quickly open a new tab in your bank, open and transfer the money from trust account to the general account. Then you come back into uLaw and transfer it in your uLaw. So the idea is to replicate what has happened in your bank. In your bank, because you moved $500 from your trust to the general, electronically, you got a reference number, you enter that here, you're verifying all the details here. You can see that, okay, I'm moving for this invoices over here, but I have only a $500 max limit because that's what is there in trust for this client. For other clients, I might have more than 500 in my trust, but for this client, this is the amount I, okay. So Catherine says, I can take my time. Okay, guys. So I'll recap once more, but just let me finish whatever I'm doing, okay? Now, you are going to be in raising an invoice. When you raise an invoice, you're eligible to move the money sitting in your trust. You've completed the work. You have a $500 that is paid as a retainer to you. You can take that out of trust and put it into your general account because that's your money now. Now, that is what you're doing here by simply clicking on question mark, transferring the money that is from trust to the general. By clicking on transfer, you're going to transfer in your actual bank and then come back into uLaw, do it over here, and enter the reference number that the bank shows you, and you're going to click on transfer. When you click on transfer, uLaw prompts you to download a Form 9A. There's a button that immediately comes up that says Form 9A download. Now, this is what you need to be careful with doing. Whenever you do an electronic trust transfer from trust to the general, Law Society of Ontario says you need to, record this for others. So now this is what you're going to be recording, and you're going to be seeing this. Can you all see this Form 9A? It gets downloaded automatically. And of course, you have to click on the Form 9A download button, and you will see this Form 9A coming up easily. Now, while this is being done, I can quickly go back into Matter and show you that your client still owes you $211.90. Now, this is going to be probably paid into your general account because there is no need for you to bring into the trust account. As you're done with the work, you are now eligible to bring the money into your general account directly. So ask your client to pay into the general account, and you click on payments. uLaw is smart. It tells you that, hey, you have only $211 max to be applied. Of course, $211.90. You're going to enter exactly that amount. Instead of that, even 10 cents more, let's say $212 the client sent you, uLaw will not allow you to take that money because it tells you that this is what you've invoiced for, this is what your pending or outstanding from the client is. So please only bring that much money into the account. So you can then enter the reference number. Let's say this is being entered into your general account. You double confirm. It goes into your general account. It is from Harry, and you can give Harry another receipt and apply. You already gave them one receipt when they gave the $500. Now you can give them another receipt. So if you look at this end to end, you have, let's look at the trust tab here. There are several tabs here. Matter events is where you've recorded the dockets. Disbursements and retainer, as the name goes, here's where you've recorded the disbursements and retainer. If you have several lawyers working on this file or assistants working, you can put rates here. Additional parties, when there's a joint retainer or when there's an opposing counsel or when there's anybody else related to this matter you want to bring in, can be added as an additional party and chosen who is it that you're trying to add, and you can put them as an additional party here. Documents. Now, I was saying I would talk about documents, document management. As we integrate with Google Drive and OneDrive, you can integrate or you can link your account, authorize with Google Drive, OneDrive, open the drive, and uLawPractice folder will be automatically created. You are not doing anything. You are just linking your drive with uLaw, and uLaw has automatically created matters for all the files that you have. And Harry is a file that you just open. You can just make sure that you have clicked on Open Drive from Harry's matter. You go into uLawPractice folder again, go into Matter. So these many files I have used in uLaw. So over here, you can just simply add in all the details and you will see the matter over here. So everything that I downloaded for Harry is in my computer downloads. I'm just opening those and uploading it into my Google Drive, which I have linked with uLaw. And when I go back into uLaw, I simply click on refresh. When I click on refresh, you will see that all the documents come up here. So whenever I want to see a retainer letter or a retainer receipt that I gave Harry, I just simply click on it and from the uLaw account, and I can already see it. I don't have to log out of my uLaw account, log into my Google Drive to see all of this, okay? So document management is available in uLaw, guys. You have to just use it. You have to link your specific drives, whether it is Google Drive or OneDrive. We support only two, Google, Microsoft, okay? Only for drives, and then you can do that. Now, besides that, if you want to take a look at what has really happened in this client's account, I want to know what happened in their trust. I want to know what happened in their general. Just simply go into Trust tab and look at it. Just come below. You would see there are receipts. You received retainers. You then invoiced and transferred the money from trust to general. When you go to general, same way, you will see that you first raised an invoice, because that is where an accounts receivable gets created for about 711.90, our invoice amount. And then it got fulfilled by transferring money from trust to general and then paying the balance amount into your general account directly. Now, there are a set of documents that can show you all of this: compliance, statement of activity, bill of cost, maybe settlement plus accounts. You will know whatever happened in your accounts, and you can also share it with your client. You can tell them that, hey, these are the professional services rendered, and this is the disbursement charges, this is the retainer you collected, and the legal fee total amount, and the disbursements total amount, and whatever was in your trust and general. You can go down, show them the summary, and they will understand even better. Summary of your trust, summary of your general, everything is done over here. So when you go back in, there are also more documents. Let's say you're done with everything, you're done with your work. Now, what do you want to do? You want to send them a closing letter. You want to tell them that, hey, I'm done with your job. Here's the closing letter, and enter whatever you need to enter in addition. Sign it, send it to them. Then you're done, dusted. You're just going to close the matter in uLaw and proceed to the next one. And to close the matter in uLaw, you can just simply click on Mark As and close it. Okay? Now, before I close the matter, there are other documents that you can generate from here. There are quote forms here. There are statements here. The statements has something called Trust plus General. This is something that uLaw prepares to show you as well as your client what has really happened in the trust and account. So remember, I showed you these two tabs, which is Trust and General. Instead of going in and seeing them separately, you can just go to Statements, download one document that is called Trust plus General, and you can just take a look at what has happened in your client's trust and his general account in less than a minute. You first got a receipt of 500 into your trust, and then you transferred it after billing. Here's the bill amount, and then the transfer that happened into general came in as a deposit, and whatever was the balance paid by the client into the general account, 211.90. And there's anything owing in general account? No. Is there anything remaining in the trust account? No. Both are zero. So this is a document that gives you a glimpse of both trust and general for a client. So this is the ledgers. So I was talking about trust and general ledger. So you have a client's trust and general ledger combined here. And when you go into accounts, you see more of these over here under compliance, monthly compliance. Let's say I did a general disbursement, or let's say I had a client's trust receipt. I want to see what has happened in the client's trust receipt journal. And is it for all clients? No, I want to see specifically for Harry Semka. So I download just for Harry Semka, and it's all for today's date. So you'll see the journal showing up under trust receipt journal. So it's only a retainer that I received. You will see this. Whereas if I go into client's trust ledger, it will show everything. It will show receipts, it will show payments, it will show withdrawals. Everything will be seen here. So ledger is a higher version, or a higher level picture, whereas journal is a detailed. Ledger shows both receipts and disbursements, as you see here. Both money come in and gone out will be seen in a ledger, whereas a journal is respective of what is the money that is coming and what is the money that's gone out. That is why you see there are 4 journals: receipt journal, payment journal, disbursement journal. So you have 2 receipts and 2 payments, which is for trust and general respectively. Now, if I want to see what has happened in my client's general, I can just simply click on client's general and download this, and you will see that the money that came in, money that went out, including all the details such as payment reference number, invoice number, email transfer reference number, the date, including the HST part. What is the HST part? Whether 610 plus 79.30, if it's a $20 printing, it is $20 plus taxes. Everything is seen here. So likewise, if you go into HST report for today, under accounts, under document generation, under taxes, under HST, let's say for the date range of whatever, let's say just for today's date range, I want to see. Okay, so today is 2nd. Let's put in download. You will see everything that we put in for Harry Sinka, which is the $79.30 and the $2.60. I've received $81.90 so far for today for Harry Sinka as HST, which I owe to the government. Okay, so you have all the details that you need for your practice within the program. Now, if you have another side, I would like to finish off by another 2-3 minutes and open up the floor for any questions. The other side of accounting will be your office expenses, and the office expenses are very simple by simply choosing whether it's a bank that you're going to use, which is a general bank or a business credit card, whichever you're using. You can go into import bank statement. Right now, uLaw has 2 options or 3 options to add all your office expenses. You can simply click on add expense payment, office expense, and say I bought a printing paper or I bought some printing ink, and it costed me $50 from Staples. So I have added the details here. So the date, the ledger, the journal that I'm adding into, the respective account I'm adding it into, and the chart of accounts are put out here, whether it's photocopy or whether it's printing paper, whatever it is, printing and stationery, whatever, just making sure that everything goes under respective headers. And then paid to details, how did I pay for? I used a debit card. Do you have a reference number? Luckily, I had the bill with me, so I just entered something and I submit it, and it goes into my general account because I used my business card, which is a debit card, and submit it. When you submit it, you go into your general account and you will see that $50 showing up in there as, your printing paper charges on February the 2nd. So keep watching here. The account will quickly change while I'm moving from pool trust account. So right here, the second line shows you printing paper, $50. So if I open up that, you will see that account that we added with all the details is there in my general account. Now that's one way of adding an expense. Now the other way of adding an expense is by importing a bank statement. I don't know if you all can do this in your EDU account, but in your real account, you should be able to, when you have a bank, you import your bank statement. You can simply choose the file and import it, select the bank you're banking with and upload it. Or one stage advanced, which is the third method of adding expenditures, is choosing the bank that you're going to import transactions for. Let's say now I want to do for my business credit card. I simply connect bank, click on it, connect bank, and all the transactions should show up. And when it shows up, wherever it says take action, it means I have not yet added it. So I'm going to add it as an office expense, and I'm going to say this one was probably paid to Touchstone Climbing. But what was it? It was, I would say, office recreation, party or something. You can just say, and you can add in saying it was paid out of my credit card. And if you have the reference number, you can add it and you can submit it. So right now I have added this, so it says complete. Now if you go and see under your business credit card right now, how do you switch between accounts? On the top, my cursor is on Daniel Craig Practice General. There are options you can run through, like, you have various accounts that you can switch between. I'm going into, instead of general account, into business credit card now, and you will see the transactions under the business credit card. So you have about $78.50 that I added for office recreation party over here, and it's right here. Whatever I added in there, including taxes, Everything has been recorded here. Now, this is exactly how you add your office expenses, your your client matters. And when you come, let's say you have followed your trust account bank statement, you have added all the deposits and withdrawals, you have followed your general account bank statement, you have followed all your deposits and withdrawals there. At the end, you come to compliance, monthly compliance, and do the reconciliations for the respective accounts, or you can simply click on reconciliation over here, click on trust, start clearing the transactions by entering the date on which you want to reconcile. Generally, people do it for the prior month, because let's say today we are on Feb 2nd, you're doing it for 1st of Jan to 31st of Jan. So you have the bank statements out today. You're going to add the date saying 31st of Jan. You're going to enter the balance you see on your bank statement, the second line, and then you're going to clear the transactions at the bottom. The first one, 678, is clear, but the 463 and the $1,000 is not clear because I don't see them in the bank statement. So they are probably outstanding withdrawal and outstanding deposits. So you leave all the outstanding ones and clear the deposits and payments one by one with the bank date, and you will be able to reconcile with the blue button that you're seeing up over here. So reconciliation, like I said, is a very, very simple process. If you're following the transactions as per your bank statements, all the receipts, all the payments, that is all the deposits and all the withdrawals are being entered into your account time on time. And I think there's nothing more for you to do with the reconciliation part rather than just entering the bank balance, the date, and clearing the accounts. Same way you clear for the general account as well. So now this is exactly what I wanted to walk you guys through today. I know this is a good 90-minute session, but I've done my best because, we waited for people to join in. But I just want to let you all know that, there will be a recording available this afternoon. I'm going to send it across to you all. But other than that, I'm also entering my direct email ID that you all can use to reach out to me for any questions. And I request you all to copy Catherine so that way, we have some idea as to which class you're from, etc. And it doesn't go into my spam folder. So my email ID is written down here, gayatri.shanbhag@superfluidsoftware.com. I understand it might have been a little short session compared, but whatever questions you have, I have 5 minutes with me. I would request all of you all to go ahead and start asking your questions. I could at least cover a few things in the 5 minutes time I have. Catherine, I can unmute you. Please go ahead and help me if anyone has any questions. I would be happy to take the questions. Catherine, can you hear me? Hi, can you all hear me? Any questions? I hope you all can hear me. Can one of you please enter something on the chat? Okay, thank you, Jessica. Any questions, anyone? I would be happy to take up anything about document generation, anything about adding contacts. So I can recap if you want. Close out accounts with amount owing. Of course. Yes, Sonia, that's a very nice question. Let's say this one. Oh, good that we have this one. This says amount owing. So a client owes me $141.25. Now, how do I close this account? Simply go to Action, add a discount. You can add a discount saying you want to give this client a specific discount. If the invoice is paid, you cannot discount them. But before that, you can just simply go to Add Discount from Action and say that you want to give $141.25 a discount. You can probably say write off or closing accounts or something. And you can give the client a discount, and then it says the projected balance will become zero. There is no more a balance or an outstanding. You can get rid of any dockets that you have. You don't want the client to pay you anymore. You can save it. Once your matter is completely done, you can then go ahead and click on action, and you can just make sure that you can mark as, and you can close the matter. So yes, you can give a discount, and you can definitely also get rid of a discount if, for example, you have gotten rid of any docket. So you're not going to discount this client any further. You can also do vice versa. So you can give a discount, you can take a discount out, and you can close the matter. Oh, but what if you want the payment, and can you still close the file? No, I don't think the file can be closed if you are planning to take the payment, because once you close a file, let's say you're marking as and closing a file, you will not be able to take any action. And it's not good, because the date stamp will be here on the date you create and the date you close. And if you've closed, let's say today, 2nd of February, and you receive the payment on 5th of February, you again have to reopen the file to add in the payment. So you might as well just leave it open and don't close the file or accounts until they pay you, so that you can also send them reminder invoices, etc., as they have to pay you a balance amount. I hope that answers your question. So you cannot close an account if you really want to collect the payment from the client, unless you want to give them a discount and close the file. Okay? A bad debt is something different. That you will have to, that's another good point. A bad debt is, let's say this, okay, if you're deliberately giving client a discount, you're waiving off a part or a portion of the invoice, then it is a discount. But if the client is not paying you, or is for some reason will not pay you, they're going bankrupt, or they're not even unreachable, then you write off. Both are going to do the same thing, but like you have already, the answer is in your question. If you are deliberately giving them a discount as a courtesy, then you do a discount. But if they are not paying you for some reason, then you do a write-off, which is a bad debt. Okay? Both are available. Both options are available under action. So guys, if you are exploring the program, I would suggest you to go in and check as much as possible into the respective tabs. Okay? All of them are self-explanatory. You just have to spend a little time exploring. Now, before I go, one important thing is, under help, there's several tutorials for you to take a look at. You have tutorials, you have uLaw user guide, you have search uLaw answers. Before you can go, and there's tons of videos here on how you can do, especially our YouTube channel. Please go and follow our YouTube channel. It's uLawPractice. The YouTube channel has several videos as part of playlist, and I know you have everything segregated as nice playlist, and you can definitely enter that. Does the HST or GST automatically default to Ontario, or do we have to change the province? Okay, so when you register for uLaw, if you're a practice, when you're going to practice and you're going to register for uLaw, we will take your address details and set that province. So now, if you have registered as in Ontario, your account default tax will be as Ontario. But if you are in Alberta and you register for Alberta, it will accordingly go in under that respective taxes and rate. Now, let's say you reside in Ontario, but you work for Alberta or British Columbia, you can accordingly change it into taxes and by coming into settings and taxes and rates. So default tax rate is set for your jurisdiction, but you can then still come into settings and change according to your requirement. Okay? I have some really nice questions coming in. So I would just say keep it coming. I have probably a couple more minutes. But if you all have any specific questions, since we only went through a little bit today of practice management, well, in the next session, I think 2 weeks from now, we have disbursements demystified. If I'm not wrong, I'm not sure of the exact timing, but I think this is the same time, same day, Thursday, 2 weeks from now, if I'm not wrong, but Catherine will let you all know about it. Yeah, so there we will discuss more in detail, and I will probably show more of uLaw than presentation, but trust me, whatever we discussed in the presentation is the basics for you to understand everything practice management post your probably your course. When you get into practice, it's very, very important. Now, if you all have any questions, I've entered my chat window here, the details. I will also enter the uLaw YouTube practice playlist link over here. Please make a note of the uLaw practice playlist. I will also share this everything practice management recording with you all by this afternoon. Catherine, I hope you're able to hear me. I didn't hear back from you. If you're not able to hear me for some reason, I request you to send me a chat window or send me a text on chat window, or maybe you can email me later. But any more questions, all of you, or are we good to go? Okay, great. Catherine said she will post. Great. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining in this morning. Sorry if it was a little delayed. We were just waiting for more people to join in. I didn't want others to miss, but it was, I hope you all have benefited a little, progressed a little with learning uLaw. Any questions, welcome. Please put it on the email, but copy Catherine, and I would love to help out each and every one of you here, but you just have to give me a few minutes to hours, some time to respond. And use our YouTube channel, use the help option. There's tons and tons of videos that you will benefit from other than today's. They're already everything practice management webinars also there on our YouTube tutorial, but the best is to go by the playlist option link that I've sent all of you. And I'm sure follow us on Instagram, Twitter. You'll have more details coming up there, more details on features, what are we doing. I haven't shared the links here, but I will be sharing it on my email while I'm sending the recording link to Catherine. To keep the recording short, I'll stop the recording here, and thanking all of you once again for joining in, and I will be seeing you all again at Disbursement Demystified webinar 2 weeks from now. Thank you, and have a lovely day, all of you.